Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching us today. I'm Karen Fuller. Right now at noon, breaking news on the ban in Arkansas for transgender children to receive gender-affirming medical care. A federal court now says the state cannot enforce that ban. A three-judge panel from the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals has affirmed another judge's ruling that temporarily blocked the state from enforcing the law that was made in 2021. Governor Hutchinson tried to veto the bill, but it was overturned by lawmakers and ultimately took effect before being blocked a short time later. A trial is set in October before the same judge on whether to block the law permanently. Be sure and join us at 5 and 6 for the latest developments. Meteorologist Scott Covert following your forecast out there today. It's a lot better than it has been. We can actually see no more fog, and it's warming up quite a bit.
It is warming up out there. And Karen, if you look off to the screen there, you can notice a lot of beautiful blue skies across a good majority of the state. Now, as you see here on satellite and radar, we do have some clouds in the southern part of the state, and that's keeping temperatures there a little bit cooler here this afternoon. Let's take a look at satellite and radar. We have noticed a couple of spotty showers in southern Arkansas today, but by and large, many of us have been dry. It's 84 degrees in Conway and Little Rock. Stuttgart sending in an 82-degree reading to us. It's 85 right now in Searcy and Russellville. Today's high 90 degrees. It's going to feel a bit warmer than it has in days past. Certainly a humid day. And while I think most of us actually are going to end the day on a dry note, there is a 20% chance of a spotty shower or two in south and southeastern parts of the state. It's going to get a little bit warmer heading into the weekends. I'll have a look at what that looks like as well as our next best chance of rain coming up.
Thanks, Scott. We'll see you soon. Today at noon, THV 11 crews are working to find out more on an overnight homicide in Pine Bluff. Police responded to a call at a home on the 3100 block of South Virginia Street. Officers arrived to find the body of a 25-year-old man outside the house. His name is not yet being released as authorities locate and notify his family. And now to a major story many Americans are talking about today, President Biden's announcement on his student loan debt relief plan. Reaction to the loan forgiveness is mostly positive for the students who stand to benefit from it, but reaction by Americans in general is split mostly along party lines. Skylar Henry shows us why.
Student loan borrowers and supporters celebrated President Biden's forgiveness plan Thursday morning in Washington.
I mean, I am just overwhelmed that 20 million people aren't going to have student loan debt anymore.
The president is delivering on his campaign promise, erasing $10,000 in federal student loan debt for those with annual incomes below $125,000 or couples earning less than $250,000. Now the next step for many of the people here and millions of other borrowers is to figure out how to actually get the relief. The government says it has income information for about 8 million borrowers.
What you need to do is go to studentaid.gov/debt relief. You are going to be waiting for information, and you will have to fill out a form. That means about 35 million people who don't have income information, go do it. And even if they have your information, do it anyway.
While the plan is moving forward, Republicans are denouncing it as an insult to those who chose not to take on debt.
And then there's many other people who took out loans and paid them off. So don't you feel like a sucker now that Biden's coming to do this?
Some critics of the president's plan are concerned the new spending power for borrowers will drive up consumer prices even more. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Under that plan, $10,000 would also be canceled for students with Pell Grants. Arkansas Senator and Republican Tom Cotton calls the plan, quote, a bailout. One question many Arkansans are asking today, what happens to the forgiven student loan debt, all that money? A local economist tells us it doesn't simply disappear. Debt relief such as this by the federal government is typically financed in one of three ways: higher taxes, cutbacks on other government programs, or adding to the already existing federal debt. And while this will help students in debt in the long term, a local economist predicts it will not have much of an impact on our economy.
This isn't actually going to put additional money, spending money, in the pockets of those borrowers.
The debt relief plan has a price tag of $300 billion. Close to 400,000 students in Arkansas are carrying student loan debt, which amounts to more than $13 billion forgiven just in our state. And this morning on Wake Up Central, we spoke with an associate professor of economics to answer viewer questions on that plan. And you can find the full interview anytime on thv11.com. Planning ahead for college is the goal of a new program in Pine Bluff. Children as young as 5 years old can have a college savings account. THV11's Ashley Godwin shows it.
It's important because it's preparing you to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be a plumber.
The Pine Bluff Promise. That's what Mayor Shirley Washington is introducing to students across the city. It's a savings account that kids from kindergarten through 12th grade can set up with their parents to invest in their future.
And at the end of that journey, they will have money to pay for a college.
Pardon me, everyone, just having a little microphone issue. THV Ashley Godwin shows us how the investment is going to help those young people after they are finished. You can imagine how much money they will have saved over the course of the program. So if you want more information, you can find this story on our website, thv11.com. And then again, that's from Pine Bluff. The sign-up process, by the way, begins soon. There will be events for parents to learn more. Other cities in Arkansas have similar programs: El Dorado, Arkadelphia, and Little Rock. Now, developing this hour, reaction to that decision by the Uvalde, Texas School Board to fire its school's police chief, Pete Arredondo, for his actions or lack of action during that horrific Robb Elementary School massacre in May. He becomes the first official to lose his job over the police response, which is being called by some, quote, an abject failure. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in that attack. The decision to fire Arredondo came during an emotional meeting where parents were allowed to comment openly. Happening now, THV11 is monitoring a deadline set for the Department of Justice to submit redactions on its affidavit that was used to support the search warrant of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago, Florida home. Well, that deadline expired minutes ago at noon. A judge wanted the redacted copy as he determines whether parts of it can be released to the public. Media outlets, including CBS News, filed motions in court to have the document revealed. We'll bring you the latest developments online anytime and on air tonight starting at 5 and 6. Abortion laws creating a near total ban go into effect in 5 more states this week following that Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. So-called trigger laws that required states to wait 30 days after the justices formally entered the judgment are now in place in Texas, Tennessee, and Idaho. North Dakota has a trigger law that takes effect tomorrow, and in Oklahoma, a bill passed this year making it a felony for doctors to perform abortions, with the only exception to save the mother's life goes into effect today. We recently told you about the explosion of some Hyundai and Kia thefts following media on video on social media showing literally how to steal the cars. Now that trend is hitting more than just car owners. It's also affecting people who rent them. Christine Byers shows us what happened to one man who recently rented a car only to find himself in the middle of that theft epidemic.
How can they do this in good conscience?
Rich O'Hearn wants to know why some companies
It's a problem.
are still renting Hyundais and Kias, even though some makes and models are being stolen at alarming rates across the country.
All these rental car companies are aware of this issue.
But O'Hearn says he wasn't until it happened to him.
I parked it down here to go to the baseball game on Thursday afternoon, and I came back after the game, and it was broken into and undrivable.
How long did you have this car?
I had it just over 24 hours.
Police say thieves are stealing some Hyundais and Kias because they don't have electronic security devices called engine immobilizers. The Hyundai Elantra that Rich rented from Enterprise had the technology, but the thieves didn't know that until after they broke the back window and stripped the ignition to try and start it.
They basically told me I'm going to be on the hook for a lot of this stuff. They don't take any responsibility.
O'Hearn said he didn't opt for the additional insurance Enterprise offered him, and his deductible is $1,000.
Most people, I do think, decline all the coverages anyway.
In St. Louis alone, More than 1,200 Hyundais and Kias have been stolen so far this year, but car rental companies are still offering them to customers.
I think they ought to be, at least on these type of cars, warning people that, hey, this is what we have for a car. There's a high risk that it could be broken into or stolen. I just want these rental car companies to make people aware of this issue, because people are coming into town. If they don't know about this issue, which I really didn't, then, this happens, then you're out of pocket for an extra expense or whatnot, for whether it's insurance rates or deductibles or who knows what else, you know what I mean? Inconvenience.
Enterprise did release a statement in response to the investigation, saying in part, quote, "We are supportive of working with local leaders and authorities in promoting efforts that ultimately protect our customers from falling victim to crime and theft." Avis, Budget, and Hertz have not yet responded. From black to green, a new record that could rock the world. More on the groovy green trend sweeping the music industry still ahead. Scott?
From black to green to blue, you got blue skies across most of Arkansas. It is going to be a pretty pleasant day. Rain chances for some. We'll take a look at that, as well as a preview of what the weekend has in store, coming right up.